Hello everybody, this is Jen from Scrapping Posh, and I'm back with my mini album C for my 4x4 series. And I have uploaded my new templates onto my blog. So go to www.scrappingposh.blogspot.com and you can download these templates that have the metric conversions with them. Actually, they're not downloads, they're just JPEG, so you can right click and save. So I thought these were a little nicer, and hopefully they help you out a little bit. So the mini album C version of the 4x4 is the easiest version. Essentially, what it is instead of doing the flap like we did on the mini album A, and the diagonal pocket from the mini album B, this is just a plain page, which what that does is allows for some not so much busyness. So this whole album here will be made of those plain pages, and because we have that extra space on our 8.5 by 11s when we cut out the pages, I just made an extra 3.5 by 2.5 mat, and you should see that on the template. All of these are also available as cut files for the Cameo silhouette. Those are downloads from my website under the free downloads tab, and again, it's just downloads from Google Docs, so there's no third-party, well, that is the third-party downloading system. So and if you're creating this album on the silhouette, it takes one page of 12 by 12 and 9 pages of the 8.5 by 11 cardstock. If you're doing it by hand, you can fit it on 8 pages of 8.5 by 11 cardstock along with the 12 by 12. So if you have any questions at all, please give me a call. I've also included a cutting guide on those new templates for the mats. If you use that cutting guide and you see that there's any issues, something doesn't fit, or something's just totally wrote wrong, especially on the metric side, because I don't use metric, I just use the conversion software. Yeah, let me know and I can get it fixed. So it's been a week since I downloaded the first part, and just a reminder, these videos are, or this mini album is just the quick, cheap mini album, cheap per se, as mini albums go. Thinking maybe for crafting fairs or for gifts. I think these would make very cute gifts, and probably I'm in the process of making 15 more albums. I have one done, and I took a break to do some project life and some scrapbooking, so I didn't get burnout. And so we should see. I'm gonna try and get I'll get my D album video up either today or tomorrow. It's homecoming week, so I have some stuff to do later today and tomorrow, or tonight, but I think I'll be able to get that done. So I've talked through most of this video, and essentially that's because this whole book has been done before. This is the same as the mini album A without the flap on it. So I'm essentially just showing you, how to do this, but you've already seen it in previous videos. So definitely watch the mini album A, because it gives you kind of the step-by-step instructions as far as constructing the pages and the album itself. There's a cover tutorial for the actual cover and spine, so check that one out. But other than that, this is just the plain basic page. I like to, in my mini albums, have a base page and then all of the other parts of that page are adders, and that's what makes the page designs different. So now I decided to use this grade school stack, which I think I've done a grade school album before. I'll end up with 3 of them by the time I get done with all the ones I'm doing. But just, I took out one of each sheet from the 4.5 by 6.5 mat stack, which is why I made these, is so that I could use my scrap chipboard and my mat stacks. And right there, I'm just cutting the cover and the spine. And now I'm going to cut the inside covers. And this is the same order that they're listed on that cut, or that template, I guess. So there's the inside covers. And then I start cutting, essentially I start cutting from the biggest to the smallest to make sure that I get the best paper utilization as possible. And it works out pretty good. As I go on and do more of these, my paper utilization and my speed improve. So something to be said about doing multiples. Excuse me. Another thing that I noticed, that if you're going to do these in bulk like I am, obviously you do one first to make sure that all your measurements are good, but something that saves time is to cut all the paper at once, or cut all your pages at once, do all your covers at once, put your albums together all at once, and then cut all your mats at once. That cuts down on the time tremendously. And I asked opinions on my mini album B video of, do you think I should add ribbon? And I had a couple of people say, yeah, I think you should add ribbon. So I'll probably end up adding the ribbon, which I like. I like the fact that I could do that, and I'm glad that you guys gave me opinions, because I have lots of ribbon to use up. And yeah, I just really would like to use it for a good cause. I don't want to use it just to use it. I mean, I want to use it because it adds to the project. So those are all my base page templates, or mats, I'm sorry. And now I'm starting on the flaps. So there's 16 base page mats. That's 8 pages front and back. And then I'm taking the cut-offs to those base pages, and they're already the right width. So I'm just taking those 16 cut-offs and making those the flaps. And the front and back 8 flaps is 16. And again, all the measurements are on that template that is available on my blog. So if you guys use the silhouette cut files or the templates to create these albums, I'd appreciate if you just give me a little bit of feedback. Was it an easy thing to do? Do I need to change anything about it? I did use Estelle's feedback to change the to add the metric conversions to it. So hopefully that doesn't make it too busy for you guys. I think that it's still pretty usable. Okay, and I apparently those weren't the right size, because now I'm cutting them down again for the flaps. So later on, there is that cut off of the first page. It's the same width as, maybe it's the tags. But like I said, once you start doing these things in bulk repetitively, you find some ways to cut down your paper usage and your time. So here I'm pulling out some more paper, and I had one of each of the papers out. I pulled 36 sheets from every stack that I was cutting, and I'm ending up with almost 6 or 8 sheets left over from the albums that have the every page in them. Like I used 2-page A's, 2-page B's, 2-page C's, and 2-page D's. So I just made 8. I think those are for the tags. Those are for either the tags or I'm sorry, the tags, the mats, or the not the file folders, because you get 16 for the file folders. So those are either for the tags and the mats. They're very similar in size. I think it's just like a eighth of an inch difference. And I obviously didn't have enough, so finishing up those. Okay, and I decided that you didn't need to watch me do all of that. So as far as decorating my front cover, I'm leaving these pretty plain. I do add a wood embellished, a wood veneer, an apple wood veneer later. And in order to adhere the covers, front, back, and inside, and the spine, I use, I cut that piece of paper wrong. I use score tape along the outside, and then I use ATG in the middle. And that piece of paper, I fixed it on the matting cutless, but that piece of paper was a 1/4 inch too long. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the one where I accidentally put the cover on upside down too, or put the pages in upside down. So I end up covering those covers anyways. So I just had all sorts of problems with this one. It's great to save time when you're doing things in bulk, but you can't get complacent with it either, I guess. I obviously did, not checking to make sure that my pages were in right side up. Okay, so I just make sure all the sides are covered with that score tape. After I get all the albums done, I have 6 of them made right now. One of them I probably won't get rid of. It's the very first one I ever did with the forever paper. So I'll probably do some more embellishing, and I'm kicking around whether or not to add charms to the ones that I haven't completed of these yet. I have plenty of things to dangle from them. I have plenty of hardware, but I know it really makes an impact and promotes interest. People love dangly things, so I'm thinking about it. Again, it would be another thing where I wanted to use some of my stash, just like on the All Dressed Up mini album. The 4x4, I used those gems or bling, I guess. Okay, so the rest of this is essentially just putting these pages on, and since there's no flaps, there's no pockets, this is a super simple page. It's just adding mats to the front, and then the backs of all of them are the same, that have the belly band and the extra, or the belly band and the stopper. Now, this one I put an extra mat in because I didn't have any pocket or flap or anything, and I wanted to use up the rest of that cardstock. So I put an extra mat, 3.5 by 2.5 mat in it. So I stick that in the back of the pocket or the back belly band, which gives it 1, 2 mats in one file folder each, and that's a bit much, I think, which you really can't help it for this album because there's nowhere else to tuck it unless you wanted to tuck it in the side with the tags. But if you do the mini albums with 2 of each page, it gives you 2 extra mats to stick in the diagonal pocket, because with the page design that I have, there is no extra, there's no mat to put in that pocket. So I kind of spread the mats and the file folders out throughout the mini album. But if you mix the pages, it does give you extra. And then I also have scraps laying around of just from past projects of black cardstock, or on my future books I have some red and craft cardstock. I use, and then on the cover there's a scrap piece of black cardstock. And I use those to take any of the big pieces of pattern paper that I have left and make some extra mats with it. Because there's no sense in throwing that pattern paper away if you can make a mat with it. So after I get done with, I may not wait till after I'm done. I have to find a cool paper pad that I want to use for the album that I'm going to finish, for a sample album with pictures in it, and I will decorate that on camera also. I haven't decided what, I guess, motif I'm going for yet. I was thinking about definitely something school related, since these are going to a Christmas bazaar at school. And it is for the Music Boosters program, so I was thinking about something band related. So I don't know, I haven't decided yet. Or I could just do, all the school pictures, or, some of both. And it would be, I'd be able to add stickers and stuff at the time that I add the pictures, and then somebody can say, oh, it's just not this book with paper in it, these actually have pictures in it. So I'm going to take, and I heard PicMonkey was actually charging now. They don't have the free trial or free subscription anymore, or not subscription, but they won't let you use their collage app for free anymore. But I had bought a subscription a while back, so I still have that. And I'll probably use PicMonkey to put 6 2x2 pictures on some 4x6s, and then 4 2x3 pictures on some 4x6s, and print, I don't know, I think I'm going to get, let's see, how many can I get on the pages? I think I'll print a good 45 pictures or so, and then still have some room for some journaling and stuff like that. So I think that's what I'll do. I guess you could do, I use a Pic Collage app for my project life, and you could use that for, sorry guys, I noticed that I had the belly bands on both this, I for some reason I started putting the belly bands on the front after the first one, which I don't know why I did that, but it is, I mean, I guess it adds some interest. So I'm gluing these tiny squares on these placeholders with the wet glue instead of using the ATG tape. So, I can't remember what I was talking about. So, I think I was talking about the finished one that I was doing. So, I guess my plan is to, oh no, Pic Collage. I use my Pic Collage app for my project life, and you can add, obviously, it's a collage, so you can add your 2x2 pictures and 2x3 pictures, and make it a 4x6 on that app too. If you've never done that and are curious on how to do it, just let me know and I can try and do a tutorial on it, because it's made my project life so much easier. And there was a couple weeks I went trying to use that app and not succeeding. My pictures were, I used a lot of paper that I shouldn't have used. My pictures were the wrong size, and so yeah, but I figured it out since then. So now I'm just wet gluing these belly bands and these little placeholders onto the pages. Some of the pages have glitter on them, so it takes a little bit longer for them to stick to those pages. I'm going to take these tags, which are cut out from the silhouette file, but if you don't have the silhouette, you can just take and cut out 3.5 by 3.5 squares and use your diagonal hole or diagonal corner chomper or any corner chomper on it, and it'll make the same thing. In my zoo album, it's a, I'm pretty sure I showed that. Yeah, the zoo album I showed during the share, it was made without the silhouette, and it's one of my favorites because it's just simple. So, and of course you can, if you have the silhouette, you can replace that tag cut file with any cut file you want to. You can do any shape you want. So that's cool and versatile. You just may have to change your mat size a little bit depending on what you're going for. And the other thing that I thought about doing, which I didn't do with any of the 16 that I already cut out, but I thought about not adding holes to those and putting bling or those plastic dots. I have a couple of packages of, I think they're called Candy Shop Jawbreakers, and those have some dimension to them, and I don't like using them so much for my project life or for scrapbooking pages because it's just too bulky. So I want to figure out how to use them on mini albums. I put them on the front of one of my mini albums for decoration, and just adding that little extra touch of something on the front or on the spine of these makes a huge difference. So don't be afraid to just add a little bit of embellishment. You don't have to go overboard, but sometimes simple is better. So I think I'm going to wait until all of my mini albums are done before I start doing some extra decorating on them. I have tons of pictures, or not pictures, but stickers and other things that I could add to them. So my next project, I have several projects started. I have an 8x8 album that is the sister to the 8x8 album size of the calendar mini album, because I also want to make interchangeable pages for that size. The only issue that I'm having so far is the calendar album had 1/2-inch hinges, and it's not my favorite to do 1/2-inch hinges, so I'll have to decide. I like the 1/4-inch hinges because you can fit more pages in there, so I don't know. I'm kicking that one around, but I do have two designed. I have the 8x8 calendar mini album, and then I have another 8x8 mini album designed and cut out, ready to put together. There, I had some extra cardstock or some extra pattern paper, so I just cut those out, and they're not exactly the same size as the rest of the mats, but you can use them as journaling. So those are just some extra tags. Give you some ideas that if you have some large scraps left over, definitely get some cardstock and stick it to them and make a new tag. So I have the 8x8 albums going on. I also have my haunted house, I guess, box, and I don't even know what to call it. It's kind of like the 221B Baker Street, but it's a haunted house. I have that project going, and obviously I have these 4x4s that I have to get done before December 9th. And I want to do a series similar to this with 6x6 albums because I have so many 6x6 paper pads. So I may do a series that are exactly like this album, these 4 albums, but in 6x6 instead of 4x4. I'm kind of kicking it around because it depends on the best utilization for my chipboard as to how big I make it, because I don't want to use tons of chipboard up just trying to use up my 6x6 paper pads. But yeah, so, or if I should just totally design new pages, or both. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Okay, so we have less than 2 minutes to go here before the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this and the other videos. Stay tuned for my mini album D video, and then the series will be complete as of now. If I come up with some more page designs, I'll definitely let you guys know. I'll do tutorials on them, and maybe I'll do another 4, and you can have 8 pages that are all different. So the idea behind the series, again, is just to keep it simple and have something that is of good quality but still doesn't take forever, and it's not an extremely expensive product. So now you can see that I put on I can't peel that up. The cover's on upside down, so I just get 2 more pieces of paper and cover that up. So, oops. Pay attention to which way you put your pages in. So, all right, you guys have a great day. I appreciate your likes and your comments and just your participation in general with this series. And if you want to be sure you don't miss the mini album D or any of the other projects coming up, you can subscribe and get notifications when I post my videos. So again, thank you very much. I appreciate you all greatly, and I hope you all have a great day.